A single contract decision made behind closed doors at the Lakers facility is about to redefine how we think about roster construction, legacy planning, and the future of this franchise in ways that extend far beyond just basketball strategy. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your exclusive and most trusted source for every critical update, every insider perspective, and every piece of strategic analysis about our Los Angeles Lakers. I'm bringing you the complete truth about what's happening inside this organization, combining insider access with the objective evaluation that moves of this magnitude absolutely demand. Today, I'm taking you through a contractual development that connects directly to the Lakers' long-term vision, something that involves the most scrutinized young player in basketball, and a decision that tells us everything about where this front office believes this franchise is headed over the next half-decade. Contract negotiations in the NBA represent so much more than just dollars and years on paper. Every extension, every deal structure, every team option or player option tells a story about organizational philosophy, about how management values specific players, about timeline expectations for development, and most critically, about the strategic direction a franchise is committing to for years into the future. When teams invest in young talent with multi-year deals, they're making statements about belief systems, about patience with development curves, about willingness to weather growing pains in exchange for long-term upside. These aren't just financial transactions, they're declarations of faith in a player's potential to become something significantly more valuable than what they currently represent on the court. The Lakers have always operated differently than other franchises when it comes to roster construction and strategic planning. This is an organization built on star power, on attracting and developing elite talent, on creating dynasties that span multiple championship runs. From the Showtime era through Kobe and Shaq, from the Pau Gasol championship teams to the LeBron and AD era, there's been a consistent thread of bold decision-making, of calculated risks that prioritize championship windows over conservative team building. Understanding that organizational DNA is essential to comprehending why certain moves get made, why specific players get prioritized, and why the Lakers consistently think bigger picture than immediate returns. The 2024 draft represented a truly unprecedented moment in NBA history when LeBron James and his son Bronny James became the first father-son duo ever selected in the same draft class. That's not hyperbole or exaggeration, that's legitimate basketball history being written in real time. The Lakers used the 55th overall pick in the second round to select Bronny out of USC, a selection that generated more discussion, debate, and analysis than probably any other second-round pick in league history. The basketball world split into camps about whether this was purely a legacy move designed to fulfill LeBron's dream of playing alongside his son, or whether Bronny possessed legitimate NBA potential independent of his famous last name. Bronny's first season with the Lakers has been exactly what you'd expect for a second-round rookie learning the NBA game. He's spent the majority of his time with the South Bay Lakers in the G League, getting substantial minutes and developmental reps that wouldn't be available at the NBA level. His G League statistics have shown steady improvement throughout the season, demonstrating the work ethic and basketball intelligence that scouts identified during his pre-draft evaluation. In limited NBA appearances, he's shown flashes of the defensive instincts and court awareness that could eventually translate into a rotation role. The athletic ability is clearly there. The basketball IQ inherited from his father is evident, and the willingness to learn and accept coaching has impressed everyone within the organization. But here's where we need to have an honest conversation about development timelines and realistic expectations. Bronny James is not going to be an all-star next season. He's not suddenly going to become a starting caliber player overnight, and anyone expecting him to immediately contribute at a high level simply doesn't understand how player development works in the modern NBA. Second-round picks typically take multiple years to develop into reliable rotation players if they develop at all. The success rate for late second-round selections making meaningful NBA careers is actually quite low when you examine the historical data. Most of those players never become rotation pieces. Many don't even stick in the league beyond their rookie contracts. That's just the statistical reality of drafting at that position. What makes Bronny's situation unique is the combination of factors surrounding his development. He's got access to arguably the greatest basketball mind in NBA history as his father and teammate. He's training daily with an organization that has exceptional player development, infrastructure, and coaching. He's in a market and franchise that can be patient with his growth because there's no immediate pressure to contribute given the team's existing roster construction. And perhaps most importantly, he's got time, actual years of runway to develop his game, refine his skills, and grow into whatever his ceiling ultimately becomes. That kind of developmental environment is incredibly valuable for young players trying to establish themselves in this league. The Lakers' coaching staff has been extremely deliberate about Bronny's development plan. They're not rushing him into situations where he's unprepared or likely to fail. They're methodically building his confidence through G League success, giving him limited NBA minutes in low-pressure situations, and gradually expanding his role as his skills and understanding of the game improve. This is textbook player development strategy, the kind of patient, strategic approach that successful organizations use to maximize the potential of draft picks who aren't immediate impact players. You saw similar approaches with players like Jordan Clarkson, who spent significant time developing before becoming a valuable rotation piece and eventual sixth man of the year. Now here's where the contract situation becomes absolutely crucial to understanding the Lakers' long-term thinking. Bronny signed a standard two-way contract when he was drafted, which is typical for second-round picks. Those contracts provide flexibility for teams and players, allowing movement between the NBA roster and G League affiliate while keeping rights secured. But two-way deals are inherently short-term arrangements. They don't provide the kind of security that allows players to fully focus on development without worrying about their immediate future. They create uncertainty that can impact a young player's mindset and approach to their game. And for an organization trying to build something sustainable, that uncertainty isn't ideal when you're invested in a player's development trajectory. The Lakers have been evaluating Bronny's progress throughout this season, monitoring his G League performances, tracking his NBA readiness, and most importantly, projecting what his trajectory looks like over the next several years. Those internal assessments involve coaching staff input, analytics department evaluation, and strategic discussions about roster construction moving forward. It's a comprehensive process that considers not just current ability, but developmental potential, positional needs, and how a player fits within the organization's broader vision. And based on everything the Lakers have seen, based on how Bronny has approached his development, based on the flashes of potential he's shown when given opportunities, the organization has made a definitive decision about his future. The Lakers are offering Bronny James a 4-year contract extension that would keep him in Los Angeles through the 2029 season. This is a multi-year commitment that signals genuine organizational belief in his long-term potential, not just a legacy gesture to keep LeBron happy. 4 years is substantial runway for development. It's enough time for Bronny to physically mature, for his skills to develop, for him to learn NBA systems and concepts, and for him to potentially grow into a rotation-caliber player, or even more. The financial terms are being structured in a way that's team-friendly while providing Bronny security, likely including team options on the back end that give the Lakers flexibility while guaranteeing multiple years of opportunity for the young guard. This contract extension represents a significant statement from Lakers management about how they view Bronny's trajectory. You don't commit 4 years to a player unless you genuinely believe there's something there worth developing, unless you see legitimate NBA potential that justifies the roster spot and the investment. The Lakers could have simply let Bronny's two-way deal expire and reevaluated in the offseason. They could have offered a one-year prove-it deal. They could have gone numerous other directions that involved less commitment. Instead, they're betting on his development curve, they're investing in the long-term upside, and they're creating the stability that allows young players to focus entirely on improvement rather than worrying about job security. From LeBron's perspective, this extension provides something invaluable, the certainty that he'll have additional years playing alongside his son, regardless of how his own career timeline unfolds. LeBron has been transparent about his desire to share the court with Bronny for as long as possible, about how meaningful that father-son connection is beyond just basketball. This contract ensures that even if LeBron decides to play into his early 40s, even if he transitions into more of a veteran leadership role, even if his minutes decrease as age inevitably impacts performance, Bronny will still be there, developing within the organization. That continuity matters enormously for legacy planning and for the emotional fulfillment that playing with family provides. For Bronny himself, this contract removes the pressure of constantly having to prove himself just to maintain a roster spot. He can now focus purely on development, on getting better every single day, on learning from the coaching staff and veteran teammates, on building his game without the anxiety of potential roster cuts or uncertain futures. That psychological freedom is genuinely valuable for young players. It allows them to take risks in their development, to try things without fear of immediate consequences, to grow at a pace that's organic rather than forced. Some of the best player development stories in NBA history have come from organizations providing that kind of stable, supportive environment, where young talent can flourish without constant pressure. The strategic implications of this contract extend well beyond just Bronny's individual development. The Lakers are making a statement about organizational identity, about commitment to building through draft and development, rather than solely relying on free agency and trades. They're showing faith in their player development infrastructure, in their coaching staff's ability to maximize potential, and in their scouting department's talent evaluation. This is the kind of move that creates positive culture within an organization, that shows other young players the Lakers are patient and invested in growth, that demonstrates a long-term vision rather than just chasing immediate results. Looking at comparable situations around the league, there are precedent examples of teams making similar long-term commitments to young players who needed substantial development time. The Golden State Warriors famously stuck with players like Kevin Looney and Jordan Poole through years of development before they became valuable rotation pieces and eventual champions. The Miami Heat have built a reputation on developing undrafted and late-round picks into solid NBA players through patience and elite coaching. The Lakers are following that blueprint, recognizing that building sustainable success requires investing in young talent and giving them time to develop rather than constantly churning the bottom of the roster with veteran minimum signings. The contract structure itself likely includes mechanisms that protect both sides while encouraging continued development. Team options on the final years would give the Lakers flexibility if Bronny's development doesn't progress as hoped. Performance incentives might reward specific statistical or developmental milestones, and the overall salary numbers will be structured to maintain cap flexibility while fairly compensating Bronny for his commitment to the organization. These kinds of creative contract structures have become increasingly common in the modern NBA, allowing teams and players to share risk while creating mutually beneficial arrangements. From a public perception standpoint, this contract will inevitably generate discussion about nepotism, about whether the Lakers are making basketball decisions or legacy decisions. That's unavoidable given the unique father-son dynamic and LeBron's influence within the organization. But here's what matters more than outside opinions. The Lakers basketball operations people, the coaches who work with Bronny daily, the scouts and analysts who project his development, They're the ones signing off on this extension. These are basketball professionals whose jobs depend on making sound decisions, who have no incentive to waste roster spots on players who can't contribute. Their willingness to commit 4 years to Bronny suggests they see something genuine in his potential that goes beyond family connections. This contract also creates interesting possibilities for the Lakers' roster construction over the next several seasons. Having Bronny locked in on a team-friendly deal means the Lakers maintain flexibility to add impact players through free agency or trades without worrying about losing a developmental piece they've invested time in. It allows them to be patient with his growth while still being aggressive in pursuing championship pieces. And if Bronny's development accelerates faster than projected, if he becomes a rotation player sooner than expected, then the contract becomes incredible value for a contributing player on a reasonable salary. That's the upside scenario that makes these kinds of developmental investments worthwhile. The timing of this extension also matters within the context of LeBron's career trajectory. LeBron is entering his late 30s, the twilight of even the most exceptional careers. Every season becomes more precious. Every opportunity to compete for championships takes on added significance. Having Bronny secured long-term allows LeBron to focus on maximizing his remaining prime years without worrying about whether his son will have opportunities to continue developing. It removes a potential distraction and creates stability that benefits everyone involved. And realistically, it increases the likelihood that LeBron finishes his career as a Laker rather than chasing another situation elsewhere. For Lakers fans, this contract represents investment in a player who could potentially become part of the organization's future after LeBron eventually retires. Let's have this conversation together in the comments section. To wrap up this entire analysis, here's my final take on the Bronny James contract extension. The Lakers are making a long-term commitment that reflects organizational belief in his developmental trajectory, providing 4 years of runway for him to grow into a potential rotation-caliber player. This extension creates stability for both Bronny and LeBron, allows the coaching staff to be patient with development, and signals that the Lakers are invested in building through draft and player development rather than only chasing veteran free agents. While outsiders will debate whether this is purely a legacy move, the basketball operations professionals signing off on this deal believe there's legitimate NBA potential worth nurturing. For Lakers fans, this represents investment in a young player who could become part of the organization's post-LeBron future, while providing immediate value by ensuring the greatest player in franchise history finishes his career in Los Angeles alongside his son. Subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report immediately for complete daily coverage of every Lakers development, every contract situation, and every strategic move impacting our championship pursuit. Hit that subscribe button right now, activate your notifications, and become part of our Lakers community that demands the most thorough and insightful analysis available. Share this video with every Lakers fan who needs to understand what this Bronny contract means for the franchise's future. Drop your unfiltered opinions in the comments about whether this extension makes basketball sense, and return tomorrow for more exclusive Lakers insider information and analysis. This is where elite basketball journalism intersects with authentic Lakers passion. Lakers Nation, let's go!